And welcome back to second day of the Change Officer Special Series STEP Conference. We are kicking off with Issa. Issa is a managing partner at Access Bridge Ventures with more than 16 or more years in VC space. You've seen a lot, you went through a lot, you reached the stage where, as you said, you have a team that can do quite a lot of work and source new opportunities. But I would really like to learn from you over these next 20 minutes more about, your view on what we've been through over the previous 10 years, and then also what we're really looking at over the next and coming 10 years here in the region in specific.
Sure.
So yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, nice
man.
to be here. Thanks for having me. Yeah. So maybe I'll start off telling you a bit about my background to help give context.
It would be good to introduce you to our listeners as well.
Cool. Yeah. So I stumbled upon VC probably around 2006. Honestly, over a dinner party, someone was launching one of the first VC funds in MENA. It was still very early days in the Middle East, and I went home and read what VC is, and was fortunate enough to join and be part of that journey. And I've been doing it since. I found something I enjoy doing, and I truly love doing what I do.
What's the piece of VC? There is a lot of misconceptions about venture capital.
Yeah.
First misconception is Issa owns the money.
No. Well, historically, this is the first time I run a private fund. Historically, I've been an employee. Throughout my career, so the concept of VC, how it works, you have a GP-LP relationship. A partnership manages other people's money.
Exactly.
And we make money off the profits.
Exactly.
We get a fee to run our day-to-day activities, but that's generally how you do it.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about a private sector fund or a typical GP-LP fund, which is what I have now or where I first joined, that's how it works. I've also have multiple gigs that had corporate venture funds. So I was running the investment practice for 2454 for around 5 years. That was sovereigns funded. I was the head of investments for IFC for the MENA region, Pakistan, and some surrounding countries.
What's the part of that you really love? What got you hooked?
What got me hooked is, so I used to be in finance before. I was a banker, investment banking,
love numbers,
equity trading, research. I didn't study it. I learned it on the go, and I'm the type of person who learns by experience. I'm not book smart in any way, sort or form, but I learn from experiences. And in VC, the exposure you get is spectacular. So you look for people who are 100 times smarter than you, that are solving a very big problem, and you partner with them. So not only do you learn from that process, but you also obviously, hopefully, profit and do good for the world, right?
Yeah.
So what excites me is learning, working with good people, and obviously financial reward and the ecosystem growth that we witnessed is a testament of that, I guess.
Got it.
Yeah.
So VC space and startup space 16 years ago and now changed dramatically, and we can probably talk about it a lot, but we already covered quite a bit of that over the previous couple of sessions and in general in the Change Officer podcast. So most of the listeners who are tuning in now as a follow-up to the previous ones know about it. New ones, go check 120 and something episodes about it. There is a lot of it. But what we're really curious here in the Change Officer podcast, and what we're trying to get the answer from everyone who is joining, because everyone's perspective is different on this. What are the opportunities in the future that are coming, given the rapid pace change that we are going through, which is faster and faster and faster, and I'm also feeling I need to hold myself. That's crazy. It's I don't know, sometimes it's just that fear all of a sudden, am I still relevant? This whole metaverse and NFTs and crypto and AI, am I still relevant with my kind of skill set? What do you think is to come? Where are we going to end in a couple of years? And if we want to chase next big opportunity as a new venture or shape our existing venture in that way?
It's a good question. So I think before I answer that, just what has happened in the past. So I've done 65 deals in my career, of which let's say 10 were fund investments through my previous gigs. Half of what we did 10 years ago don't exist anymore. They all died because it's a learning process and learning iteration. I think what we're seeing, there's a number of things that excite me and I think keep an eye out for. So I think anything that is disrupting an archaic industry is what I would look at. So let's put metaverse and Web3 aside, and let's look at real industries that are still yet to be disrupted.
Okay.
So healthcare,
all right,
as one. The medical practice is still far behind. We've advanced so much, and what we've seen with how they've managed COVID and how quick medication and vaccine has come out is testament to that. But if you take a look at the healthcare process between doctors, hospitals, and consumers, it's still broken. Digital health, how do you communicate between doctors and patients? How do we leverage these devices to optimize the process? So, this is a machine. This is more powerful than the first computer we bought.
A lot,
right?
A lot more powerful.
This can now test my blood oxygen, my heart rate. My doctor can, if allowed, monitor me properly. So the concept of us going to a hospital or a doctor will slowly, gradually decline and give those people the ability to focus on more critical patients and more relevant. So I think that's one aspect. I think how people work, and we talked about that before we started, I think that is still yet to be disrupted. How do we manage, why is a spectacular developer in Egypt or Jordan paid a tenth of the same developer with the same skill set in San Francisco? So how do we normalize that? How do we give people equal opportunities? Gig economy, sharing of resources, work for hire, virtual work. I think these are still areas that to be disrupted, and the HR platforms that manage this. So how do we manage the new age and how people work? So at Access Bridge, as an example, we do have an office, but we spend maybe a day a week together to build that personal relationship.
Yeah.
But then you do what you do when you want to do it, whatever you want to do it. I don't care. Do you want to start working at 10 today, at noon? If we have a meeting, you need to show up. But other than that, we work based on tasks and what we need to deliver and what we need to execute. And that gives everyone the flexibility, and happy people perform better. So another aspect of it, I think Fintech, and I'll stop speaking in a second, is also a big
this is
one.
all valuable.
Yeah.
I think everything that you mentioned so far, what I've picked up is healthcare, absolutely leveraging the technology and devices that we're using. HR, which is a really good point.
Yeah.
HR that will coordinate and facilitate new age workforce distributed around the world.
Yeah.
Really, really good point.
Fintech, I think that's the standard one. I think Fintech is...
We feel like fintech, there's so much
and there's so much money being thrown at a ridiculous pace, creating a bit of an overinflated ecosystem, if you ask me. But for a reason. The financial systems are flawed, and that's where I guess the blockchain and Web3 all come into play. But take a fundamental step back. Like we take a look at the past few weeks and all the announcement of the card on demand, the B2B businesses, credit cards, and expense management platforms that have raised money. It took me a year of begging banks to open up a corporate credit card for Access Bridge, and I wasn't able to do it. I went for a startup that is outside this part of the world to do that.
Which one? Let's promote them.
Tribal.
All right.
It's an investment of a few VC funds out of MENA,
all right.
Which I used to sit on their LPAC as part of my previous role.
Right.
And 3 days, boom, I have a virtual credit card. I can pay for my hosting. So it's still flawed, right? We have a company in Egypt that we've invested in that does supply chain or buy now, pay later for supply chain or businesses to businesses, and eventually going B2C. Doing nano financing, so small checks, a very hyper local play where they've managed to create credit profiles for unbankable people. Banking for people who are not will never be approved by KYC from more traditional banks.
Big opportunity.
So there is so many. How do I transfer remittance? This goes on and on and on. So I think fintech is yet to be disrupted. Education. Again, standard themes, but they're archaic industries. So education, the way we learn. So I don't know about you. I was forced to decide what I wanted to do in life by grade 9.
Yeah, same.
I went to university. I applied for everything from dentistry to computer science to business to engineering because I kept my options open. I started off literally the first month in computer science. I'm like, that's not for me. I moved to business. I started off in banking, finance, moved to VC. So, let people learn by experiences. People learn by developing what they're good at. Get kids and children. So there's, alt school and that model in the US that still needs to come here in this part of the world. So there's so many, and I can talk forever about it.
So what I want to talk next about, and I think we gave everyone like a nice amount of information on the opportunities, and I think they are all specifically what captured my attention is healthcare, which I agree, and there is a lot of opportunity. So like how I measure the opportunity, at least personally, and everyone has their own strategy. The size of the opportunity and the hotness and the amount of people and companies trying to solve it. Fintech versus healthcare, uncomparable. Fintech, everyone is chasing towards
because it's easier.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
So, but there are so many boring industries. Yeah, you may be saying it easier is not, but
an understatement.
Understatement, but because it's hot and there's a lot of capital, and obviously, especially VCs are taking the lead there and promoting it in a way that makes people that money is in fintech. But there are industries like education. How many startups are solving education comparing to unbanking and underbanking, right? So education, healthcare, big opportunities. You guys invested early stage.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about this whole
spectrum
from idea, early stage, pre-seed, seed, Series A, and later. It's easy again, understatement, but joining the train at Series A, obviously it's already validated market traction. We got revenue, we got thousands of users. All right, now it's just a question whether we'll be able to scale it or not.
Yeah.
Putting your bets early on is more riskier,
of course,
but there is so much more and more fun, and and there is so many talented founders who are waiting for support.
Yeah. So I think just to answer that, just to give you an understanding of our ethos and how we think, or how I think and the team thinks, and my partners, is we only invest in areas we understand. And if you take a look at those trends I mentioned, these are areas we understand. So my partner Imad knows edtech and health tech better than anyone else in this part of the world. I'm over exaggerating, but we feel that is the case. I understand fintech and e-commerce and retail and the digitization of retail and quick commerce, for example, and how that is going to spread across that. So we invest in areas we understand. If we take a look at early stage, we try to find the entrepreneurs that are solving these problems that we can add value to. So when I talk to an entrepreneur at the stage we invest in, and you talked about the key areas where people launch businesses and the simplicity and whatnot, but we look at the person. Is this someone who understands his space? Is this someone strong? If this person fails or this team fails, will I still back them?
Yeah.
And if the answer is yes, that's how we start that conversation. Given that we got 1,100 applications for funding last year.
1,100.
1,100 applications, and it's our first year of launch.
What's your average ticket?
250 to 500, maybe 500. Actually, 500 has been that we're hovering around that rate for the last few deals that we did.
And that's at the stage of earlier stage. What's early stage? How do you define
so stages and names keep changing.
What
we call seed now is what an A was 2
what
years
used
ago.
to be A
or
nice
B.
A. B.
And I'd like to be that first or second institutional investor coming into a business. So that's for us right now is seed, pre-seed. I never used to do pre-seed, but now we do that because obviously we come in early and we need a good price point to generate returns and so on. So taking a step back is finding the entrepreneur who understands his business, understands the market he's focusing on, and is solving an actual problem. Because we have a great idea, but it's not a problem that's big enough in terms of market size. And we sit with the entrepreneurs and we talk about what value are you looking for from your investor in an ideal world. And we take a look at that. Okay, we can help with 1, 2, 3, 4. How can I grow you 10x, 15x over the next 12 to 18 months? Because the value of a seed or early stage investor like us is usually best at that first 12 to 18 months. Then you should theoretically get the bigger boys at the Series A with the bigger checks who understand the scale from that to growth. Can still help.
So you strategically decided you want to focus on this stage where you feel you contribute the most value to the startup,
and
right?
We can help shape these companies' destiny through our experiences and the failures that we've seen, right?
All right.
65 deals, right? Half of which have failed miserably. We've seen it. My partners operate businesses. We've built businesses ourselves. So taking that experience and giving you those shortcuts is is where we excel.
All
And
right.
honestly, people say you can't do it for 10, 15 companies. I'm like, yes, in theory, but if you spread them over 3 years and you focus on a chunk each year, as you build your portfolio concentration, it's manageable. Just, really rolling up your sleeve and getting down and dirty. Like I did 3 or 4 years of venture building where I launched 4 or 5 businesses at some
Wow.
point. And
You were supposed to say that at the beginning. I wanted to talk about it that much. Now we're out of time.
But like again, getting that experience and transferring it to people. Really, that's I think how people do. That's how good businesses get. Like a lot of the businesses we invested in when we did the first deal in this fund, people were like, "Issa, what are you, a cowboy? What's this bet you're taking?" I see something in this entrepreneur and the problem that he's solving and the tech that he's developed over the past 2 years that you don't. A year later, these businesses have grown 15 to 20 times already. And there is a bit of a market element to it, but they're fundamentally strong businesses.
That's amazing. Look, I think it's time to wrap. We can definitely set up a new longer session of the Change Officer in our studio. There's so many topics, especially venture building, which I think is a model that is yet to be proven and scaled in the region. But before I let you go, I have just one random fun question. If you could pick any cartoon or movie character to be your co-founder in the next venture that you're going to start, which one would it be?
A movie character or a cartoon? Oh my God, I don't watch a lot of TV.
Book?
Then I'll tell you that guy from that TV show, the lawyer.
Harvey? Suits.
Yeah,
Harvey.
Harvey would be an awesome person to work with.
Harvey Specter, right?
I was going to say Billions, but there's some ethics there and so on. But yeah, that's what I would
Harvey
choose.
Specter is the man. All right.
Cool.
Issa, thanks so much
Thank
for
you
coming,
for having
man.
me. Anytime you want us back, we're around.
For sure. We need to do a round table and have another interesting discussion. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick chat. Stay tuned. There is another great episode coming out really soon. And follow the Change Officer. Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye.